Don Jr. was on Newsmax because he doesn't have a real job. And it said something very awkward. I mean, this is the title of this video. Let me squeeze this down so you guys can see it. Don Jr., I'll do anything to make sure it's not Haley. Way to take one for the team. What are you going to do? Fuck Mr. Haley? How do you mean? Anything? What does that mean? Anyways, it's a Donald Trump Jr. Dems funding Haley's Stop Trump campaign. He's on Wake Up America, which most Americans sleep through.
Joining us to discuss is someone very familiar with the
Is someone disgusting?
former president's campaign, Executive Vice President of the Trump
Vice President?
Organization, Donald Trump Jr. Don, good to see you. How are you?
Bloated.
I'm doing well. Doing really well, actually. Thanks.
That's nice.
Thanks. Not in Iowa anymore. So, you know, I got to say, the snow in New Hampshire is a lot better than the snow in Iowa. You know what I'm talking about.
Nice to have you back. After your father's Iowa landslide, it's clear Donald Trump is now the preferred candidate, at least right now, not only in Iowa, but
Yeah, Ted Cruz was the preferred candidate after he won the Iowa caucuses last time, too. So he's in good company.
polling suggests nationwide. If we don't see a surprise in New Hampshire on Tuesday, how long do you expect Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to stay in this race?
Well, I think especially for Nikki Haley, I think she's being funded by Democrats, right? I mean, you see that. She's got Democrat mega donors funding her campaign. The people who are, getting her, gains in New Hampshire are all Democrats. So I probably see that as part of that sort of globalist Democrat, rhino tactic of dragging this out.
The globalist Democrat rhino tactic. Us against the world. Asterix Jews.
To make it harder for Trump to win in general. So, I think you go on to in South Carolina where she was governor, and I think you're going to blow her out there by 30 points plus. But
you're going to blow her out there?
But I don't know if that means she gets out, because I don't think it's just about running. I think it's about stopping Trump.
What's your direct message to Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley as we move forward with this campaign?
Since you're the person they're least likely to listen to.
Listen, I helped Ron get elected in 2018. I did probably 30 events.
This is your fault. No wonder your dad hates you. Are we going to find out later that he's the one who talked Trump into endorsing DeSantis? That's what happened. Clearly, that's what happened, right? Because the son's always come up with the dumb fucking harebrained ideas, and he's just too fucking soup-headed himself he just signs off on everything if he thinks he can come up on top even a little bit.
For him, I voted for him last time. I'd like him to be a governor in Florida, not be.
He is actually a governor in Florida, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, currently.
In Iowa for the last year. I mean, I'm a resident of his state. Right. It would be nice to have a governor there, and maybe have a.
Excuse me. He, as a governor, would like to have you as a citizen in his state. You have not been there either. You've been on the road as much or more than he has. So, in all fairness, I think you guys should just bunk up, get a Winnebago or something, and then just tour across the country together.
A chance to actually win the presidency rather than draining the resources you need to take on Joe Biden.
Excuse me. Your dad is the one literally siphoning money away from Republican races, that's going up his nose, out his ass, or into the pockets of his lawyers.
As a conservative, I want to stop these insane policies that we see from today's left.
The policy that we see from today's left. Yes, what policies would those be?
Whether it's immigration, whether it's the attack on our energy sector.
It's the sector. Is tertiary syphilis, is tongue swelling? He's got blow in his sock drawer, you think, Loretta?
Whether it's the wars breaking out, literally.
It's the wars breaking out, literally, guys.
All over the world, because
it's all over the world. And you know what? Some people will say that the cocaine in New Hampshire had the compound in it that makes your upper palate, your hard palate, swell up. And that kind of, so
a lack of leadership,
which I haven't found to be the case.
A lack of competency, a focus on the 9,476 genders that the Democrat Party seems to make a priority of their party. I don't want to focus on those things anymore. I want to focus on putting America first.
Yeah, the difficult thing is programming in when you're firing at missile sites in the fighting back against the Houthis. Is that now because of Joe Biden, you have to program in what gender. You have to ask the pronoun of the site you're going to bomb, and wait till it responds before you can hit it. Because with our woke military.
Nikki Haley, I don't believe agrees with any of those things.
Right.
I believe she's legitimately far more of a Democrat than a Republican. So I don't see this message
Well, I mean, of course you think that she's female.
resonating with her, but that's just fine. I spoke, literally right after her at the same caucus location in Iowa.
Yeah, you did. Right after her, you smoke. Seriously, what the fuck is going on? Is it true that he has that like hard palate replacement thing in his in the top of his mouth? It's like a retainer because he blew a hole in it with cocaine, and he's got to wear that thing. Is that what this is? And it's like slipping, or it's the wrong size, or he's got tongue swelling because of whatever the fuck.
And even the press, who probably hates my guts, reluctantly had to write the article that I got far more applause than her, because the people there are there to actually vote in a Republican caucus.
Also, maggots tend to, sell their beliefs by applause, and other people just tend to vote or listen. Again, they think the louder you scream, the more votes you get. Doesn't work that way.
She's trying to get Democrats to vote for her to stop Trump, but they're not going to end up voting for her against the radical leftist Democrat, Joe Biden administration in the end. It's all
right. But she shouldn't have to worry about that. Republicans should all just come back to whoever the nominee is and vote for her anyways. Why the fuck? The question isn't, will she be able to bring back Democrats who voted for her in the New Hampshire primary to vote for her in the general? The question is why if she becomes the nominee, maggots won't vote for her. There's a reason. And looking at her, I'm trying to find. I can't figure out what could it possibly be. There's two reasons that come to mind. Yeah.
Just one big ploy to try to hurt Trump, who will actually put America first.
So Trump is already
on the chopping block, of course. That's the part of America First they never tell you about. He's like, it's the first thing he throws on the table in the poker game, or the first thing he's willing to negotiate away. I'm America First. Take America, leave me alone.
He said that he's picked his VP, but he can't tell us. Back in 2016, he didn't pick somebody that was running for president. He chose Mike Pence, who at the time was not a candidate for president. Could you see your father running with Ron DeSantis? I asked him that question over the summer, and he didn't rule it out. Could you see Ron DeSantis?
How do you? It's hard. People do that. Like, I would do whatever I could to make sure it wasn't Nikki Haley, but But like a Ron DeSantis, could I see? You're never going to rule out someone.
Why would you? That's interesting. So the quote about "I'll do everything I can to make sure it's not Nikki Haley" is not about her becoming president or becoming the nominee, but making sure she doesn't become the VP. That strikes me as odd. Does that not? Chat room, does that not strike you as particularly odd? Like, why would that be the hill to die on? You'll do more to keep her from being VP than you would do to keep her from being president or even the nominee.
That is, a leading contender. It doesn't mean that's who you go with. I could see other people that would be great. I'd love to see, a J.D. Vance. I'd love to see a Tucker Carlson. I'd love to see.
Yeah, me too. Go for it. Do those things. That's a great idea. Yeah. And I'm sure Tucker Carlson would love the scrutiny that you get when you become a candidate. It's very different from the scrutiny you get just being a fucking talking head on Fox.
People who
or shitter or wherever now.
Principally, in alignment as well as aggressive.
Aggressive.
Actually need a fighter. The Republicans.
No, you don't. You need a. I thought we needed somebody who knew how to make deals, right? I mean, he's not fighting. He'd be negotiating trade deals and negotiating with, if he didn't have the votes to get whatever he wanted passed through Congress, he'd have to negotiate with the people on the other side to get as much as he could,
In Washington, D.C. are weak. You can have the House, the Senate, and they'll still roll over.
They still roll over, guys. I want you to know this. They will still, every time, they will roll over.
Don, is your dad serious about Tucker Carlson? Are those rumors serious?
I would imagine, listen, that's clearly it would be on the table, right? I mean, they're very friendly. I think they agree on virtually all of these things. They certainly agree on stopping the never-ending wars.
No, they didn't. You're okay. First of all, every time they bring this up, I have to remind everybody that Trump ran on getting us out of Afghanistan and didn't do it. He released 5,000 Taliban fighters, didn't bring the Afghan government into the negotiations, and then he left office when he could have started the withdrawal during his last year in office and used COVID as cover, as a pretext for getting most of the people out of there. It would have been super easy if he had any fucking brains at all, but he didn't, because he intended to say. And then afterwards, ever since, he has been saying, we're going to keep Bagram. There is no way you get out and stay at the military base. It doesn't happen. It's absurd.
So, I would love to see that happen. And, that would certainly be a contender.
Ben Carson, those rumors legit?
Also, this is another dumb idea from him. Ben Carson is a rumor. No.
Ben's great. I mean, what a great.
That's a no.
What a great American, someone who was just steadfast.
He's totally steadfast
and loyal throughout all of the insanity of the last years. I'd love to see that. And, Ben's almost too nice for politics. That may be the only problem. Can you withstand the insanity that's in there? But I'd love to see a Ben Carson in there.
That might be a good thing. But no way Nikki Haley.
Well, that's my opinion. I don't make these decisions, but I don't think that's currently really on the table.
But you're
why? Again, I got to say, why? Just because she's actually making the most headway? Or, quite frankly, because she's a woman of color and she's a woman of East Asian descent, and we already have a woman of color who's partially of East Asian descent in the VP slot, and it would look like you guys are just trying to, Biden was my age now when he kicked my ass, and he had a woman of color in his second spot. So maybe I'll just rip him off. It's what I do.
Your father listens to you. Your
Oh, come on, dude. That's just mean.
Father listens to you. His family, maybe more than anyone else.
Oh, that explains a lot of the shitty decisions he's made.
That opinion matters.
I've been pretty involved in the political game for quite some time, and I think
yeah, since he started losing. Yeah, you jumped in right after he accidentally won in 2016, and you've been screwing the pooch ever since.
More importantly, I actually, let's say live with the base. I hang out with the base. Those are my
I totally live with the base.
People. Those are my friends. I'm not, the New York City rubber chicken dinner, charity circuit guy. I hunt and fish and travel with real Americans, and I think I have a pretty good understanding of where they're at.
Unlike Eric and your sister and your brother-in-law, who's a billionaire now. Oh my God! All right, so jackassery. Let's just and ultimately saying nothing. Ultimately, this is just blather. Now, this. Hold on, let me see this. Okay, we gotta address this one right out there because we take a break momentarily from the campaign trail here at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show in any way that you can. And if you can't, just share the clips, and thanks for being here. And I appreciate your time. It's the greatest gift you can give anybody, and I don't take it for granted. Now, people have been making the case that Trump's brain is slipping and he's got syphilis, tertiary syphilis, I believe, which means I think you got it below the Earth's crust. Anyways, lately, mainly a couple reasons. One, his nasty hands and the sores on them and all that stuff, whatever was happening. And then on top of that, his drifting thought patterns and his kind of easily confusing his own talking points and kind of rambling, which he's been doing for a while now, and it's getting worse. But I think it's just that's him speaking MAGA. I think there is that syphilitic nonsense is the language of MAGA. Does that make sense?